We are Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar, giving you a raw take on movies, television, and pop culture. My name's Chris.
And my name is Scott.
I am JB4.
Y'all going to have to hang with me as best you can today. It's definitely a allergy season edition today.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Sponsored by Clarinex.
Clarinex. It'll dry you out to the point that you don't cough and can't sing anymore. So,
Thank you, diarrhea.
that's it. All right, man, let's jump right in here, headlong. All right, so trailers.
I saw some.
The Inhumans. What did you all think of this trailer?
My first thought was, what a waste of IMAX.
Yeah, right.
My first thought was, I can't wait to see this on the Sci-Fi Network.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I thought, Scott. I sat there and looked at it, and I'm like, this looks like it belongs on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Well, it's one of those things where it looks like it was loyally adapted. I mean, the dog looks like the dog, and everyone's got the right costumes on, but it just still feels like a Roger Corman production to me with CGI. I think it's just because the property is kind of an out there one.
I saw some people on the interweb, because, they like to complain about this, comparing the effects on this to, say, The Flash, and how people always suck the Flash's dick, but then, they'll use computer, terrible, when, like, the Flash is running real fast, it's obvious that it's a CGI character.
Still looks good, though.
It does still look good, and, you can't fault bad writing and whatever, but still, I shit on that opinion, but whatever.
Well, I mean, I sit there and I sit there and look at the Inhumans characters, and the things that I see in the comic book, they don't look like humans. They look like
Inhumans.
like all kinds of weird shit, I mean, and the Inhumans look human. Now, I was really corrected by a friend of mine who's a comic book aficionado saying, well, the Inhumans look human except for so-and-so.
Black Bolt or whatever his name is.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. With this show, I think that this would have been much better served as a movie.
Yeah.
Especially the stuff that like we see in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
This would have been a perfect property to fit into a style like that.
Or how about an Agent Carter type series where you do it in between 6 episodes? If you're going to do a series, just do like 6 episodes if it's that important to you.
Because money.
I guess.
Exactly, and the CGI, like you say, if they had done a Guardians of the Galaxy series and Groot was a person, that had the tree-like qualities, no, wouldn't be as good.
A person with tree-like qualities.
I don't know.
Well, right, as opposed to a tree
I understand.
alien,
I don't know. That Groot costume that they have walking around Disney World is pretty fucking awesome looking. The one the one they CGI formed and shit.
Okay.
I mean, they molded one with like a 3D printer.
Oh, neat.
And they have a guy. It's basically a stilt costume.
Right.
Oh.
And there's a guy walking around.
So why the fuck couldn't Disney pony up some cash for the Inhumans then?
Well, because
Again, it is Disney and ABC,
Yeah.
but it is, it's their third level stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing, too, is what makes, I mean, the Netflix series, I buy that. They did a good job making it a neighborhood-level show.
Right.
With something like this that's kind of a globe-trotting kind of thing and something this big, and all these crazy shits are happening. I mean, you got a character that, like, flies down in the middle of New York City and, like, uses his voice, and it's, like, blowing cars over and shit, and they have a large bulldog hanging out with him. I mean, dude, Tony Stark would not catch wind of this.
Why? And they could have done, you're talking about just do a movie and be done with it. They could have done a Netflix movie and been done with it. They already have a contract with Netflix. They could have done a 2-hour movie, because Netflix does those. They
Sure.
do those type of things, so...
There's a story here that isn't being discussed in the press, which is what happened that Feige abandoned the Inhumans movie that Perlmutter got it. Something happened. I'm not sure what.
I mean, I think really what ended up
is,
happening.
and we'll discuss it later.
I think I have an idea. What happened is that ended up kind of being a main focal point of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the Inhuman storyline. And I think the thing with it is that once they did the breakaway where everything was separate between Perlmutter and Kevin Feige, and to explain to you guys, just brief history, Kevin Feige is the executive producer of the movie, and Ike Perlmutter basically runs everything else Marvel. He's in charge of the television show. There was a pretty vicious breakup between the two, and in a power play, Feige ended up breaking away from them and kind of making the movie, like the movie universe, its own universe. Yes, the television shows and the other associated products connect to it, but they don't really so much connect the movies to the television shows, and I understand why.
Right.
But I think that's what it was. Is that I think before all that happened, Perlmutter and his team, which is Joe Quesada, who's the EP of Marvel Television. They started kind of like integrating that into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Once it was apparent that they both became separated, Feige looked at it and said, well, if they're doing that over here, we're not going to make a movie that's going to confuse the two properties. That makes no sense.
Okay.
That's what I think happened. Scott, what do you think?
Oh, wait. There's a thing in the news you're going to bring up, and I was going to reference it when you get there.
Cool.
Okay.
Unless you
All
want
right.
to get there now.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. Next trailer we watched was Jumanji, which is going to feature The Rock and Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and a female actress. I didn't recognize her, and I was so like kind of last minute catching up on the news. I didn't get a chance to go look up who that is. But from what I gather with it is that Jumanji is no longer a board game. It's now an old Super Nintendo, console game. And they started up, and you're basically sucked inside of a virtual world. It's
It's Jutronji.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
If you're going to reboot it, I'm not saying this movie's going to be awesome because The Rock's in it, but if you're going to reboot it, I think it's a very interesting way to reboot it.
Because of The Rock?
Because you're now the avatar inside of the game. Inside of this digital game, as opposed to The Rock being sucked inside of a board game or Jack Black being sucked inside of a board game. And the way that they played the characters, I'll see it if the reviews are half-ass good. Yeah. I'll go to the movies and see it.
Well, I mean, I think the thing with it is that a lot of these characters, the actors that are playing the characters in the movie, I mean, they're basically our age, maybe a little bit younger.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing with it is that I don't understand why you wouldn't have them, play the board game when they're kids, which we kind of come from the board game generation, and that it does that. But I mean, I get why they're doing what they do.
Do we come from the board game generation?
I think so.
I think so.
I would say we're patient zero for the video game generation.
We are that, but the thing with it is that
I think we have both.
We're the hybrid.
Yeah.
We're in the thing with it is that look, I mean, we're Generation X.
Yes.
We're Generation Xers. I mean, we were kids in the 80s. We were kids in the 80s. We were teenagers in the 90s. I mean, we were fortunate enough to where we got to experience a pop culture generational shift.
In the 90s, but
okay, well, I mean, what I'm saying is that we were basically teenage to 20s,
right?
In 1992, when fucking Nirvana and all that shit came out, and it started a cultural revolution. So I mean, we're from the 80s with board games and the initial launch of video games and all that shit. We took the long way around to basically say, this is, I guess, a good way to do it to identify with younger audiences. But, man, the original one is kind of so beloved by this generation's parents.
To be quite honest with
it's kind of tough.
I didn't beloved the first movie at all. I mean, it was fine, but it was. I'm gonna go back to my my old argument. The CGI in that film they were very ambitious, but they didn't get it right. I don't know. It was okay, but it wasn't. Robin Williams was hilarious, but other than that, it wasn't. It's never my go-to film. If it's on, I don't turn it on. I never hunt it out. So,
I don't know. I really enjoy it, man. I enjoyed it when it came out, but Robin Williams, man.
Exactly.
I mean, that's.
I will say this.
I've seen the movie. I guarantee I've seen it more than a handful of times.
Oh, okay.
So.
Kevin Hart and The Rock were in that
Central Intelligence,
and that they work well together. So
that movie bombed though.
It was funny. It's actually funnier than
you'd think.
And it's not exactly what you think it's about. And whoever wrote, I think I talked about this on the show, but all the jokes are very us. Very. They all have. It's almost like when you saw 21 Jump Street for the first time or 22 Jump Street. All the jokes were like, oh, that's a good joke. I get that. That's how this movie is. It's not your typical stupid comedy. all the jokes are kind of smart jokes embedded in a, whatever kind of movie.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I'm indifferent. I mean, I mean, I'm not going to see it.
I'm not gonna defend it. I'll put it that way. I'll see it if I have a Saturday night and there's nothing else going on.
Have you seen Baywatch yet?
No.
Okay.
So
Are you going to?
at this point, no.
Yeah.
Unless I, when it comes on Netflix or whatever, maybe Redbox, dollar.
Right.
Maybe.
Ah, well. So there you go. Nice try, Jumanji. You didn't connect with us, but who knows? You might connect with some younger kids and do pretty good. So
There you go.
And if it comes
see.
out in the summer, I don't know when it's coming out, but if it comes out when there's nothing else coming out, it may do great.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. What makes it more difficult now is that when you have movies like this, is that, and I think that it's actually proliferated Hollywood to kind of go back after these older properties because now you're up against the marketing machine of established franchises. And it's not like you can go and launch everything new. I mean, look at it. We went and saw Baby Driver. John and I went and saw it this past Tuesday.
Good movie.
It was fucking fantastic.
Man.
Great movie. But the chances of that movie becoming a runaway hit to the general audience is few and far between. It's not really going to happen for them.
Maybe should have come out in September, you think?
To be honest with you,
Late
Scott,
August?
I don't really think that there's any proper way to release it anymore.
Gotcha.
I think that the larger franchises, in particular the superhero, whether it's WB or Marvel and Star Wars or Transformers, which we'll get into that later. But I mean, I think the thing with it is that there's no proper way to release anything anymore. I mean, look at the King Arthur thing. They released that right after Guardians of the Galaxy. They had no choice. There was nowhere else to release it. It got fucking pummeled.
Except horror. I think horror is the only asterisk.
Yeah, because it kind of has its own.
and-
It's got its own niche audience.
Yeah.
So, and plus on top of that too is that horror movies are typically made for about $5 or $6 million, and they make about 40 to 50 million typically. That's a
Baby
typical
Driver
result.
had to have cost at least 30.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll look up the info. We'll
Looks
jump
good.
on it. We'll jump on it next week. All right, let's get into some actual news here. Okay, Marvel announces that Peter Parker was already seen in Iron Man 2. If you go back and watch that shit fest, you'll see that the young child with the Iron Man mask, you'll see there's a young child with an Iron Man mask that Tony Stark saves during the final battle in the Stark Expo. The math does not add up.
Well, I had the way I read it was that what's his name said that the guy who's playing Peter Parker said that was it.
And Kevin Feige confirmed it.
I thought that they kind of didn't confirm it.
I don't know. From what I
thought
read
he
something
jumped
wrong.
the gun.
But
I thought maybe they talked about it, but never said it was canon. And what's his name, was like, yeah, of course it is.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
regardless if it's canon
It's
or not,
not.
that
Right.
kid sucks at math
Yeah.
because it doesn't add up. Because Iron Man 2 came out, I think, in like 2011.
Right.
So, yeah, the
doesn't work.
math isn't right. So,
Right.
fuck that stupid shit and fuck Iron Man 2. All right, a Tremors TV series has been ordered to pilot for the Sci-Fi Channel, and Kevin Bacon will reprise his role as Valentine McKee. Bacon claims that it's the only character he's ever played that he desired to revisit, yet he didn't show up in any of the sequels. All right, no word yet if Fred Ward or Michael Gross will return. I'm not going to lie, Tremors is a very guilty pleasure for me. I will watch part 3 and part 4 whenever it's on because I love the fuck out of Michael Gross's character.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, if they reboot it and just put him in it, I'm fine with that. Have y'all ever seen it before?
Believe it or not, I haven't.
Go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say that, to take up for Kevin Bacon, he sort of moved on as he tried to, do more. I'm not going to say difficult, but he spread his acting wings from
sure.
this. So I can understand him not going back to, the sequels, but I'm glad he's coming back to this.
Oh no,
and
no,
I think it'll be good.
I think it's great. I mean, he hasn't, from what I can see, and maybe I'm completely wrong. I haven't seen him do anything really significant lately. So
X-Men First Class?
Hold on, you just got excited.
We never touched that trailer that came out a while back of Flatliners. Did y'all ever watch that trailer?
Yeah,
we did.
Did we talk about it?
No, we never did.
I don't want to
Yeah,
dwell
they're doing
on it,
a
but
reboot of.
they're doing a reboot. It looks terrible.
Yeah, and it's got Ellen, the girl that played Juno. She's
Right.
in it, and the guy who played Cassian Andor in Rogue One.
I thought it looked interesting. There's not enough in that
But
trailer.
speaking of Kevin Bacon,
I'll watch it on video.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I mean, as far as Kevin Bacon is concerned, yeah, it's John to bring it up. I mean, X-Men First Class is the last significant thing I remember him in, and that was probably over 5 years ago. So for
he
him,
was on TV for a long time, though.
Oh yeah, The Happening or whatever.
Right.
all right, so Kevin Bacon, has had a significant career, but he's going back to Tremors. As far as Tremors is concerned, you said you've never seen it. There's a character that's played by Michael Gross, who Michael Gross is best known for his role as the father on Family Ties.
Right.
Well, in this movie, he plays a survivalist, and he's like a wackadoo survivalist, like fundamental guy, like armed to the teeth.
That's
And his
awesome.
name's Bert, and Bert has like special forces level fucking weaponry in case the world comes to an end. Well, this time it wasn't the Ruskies, it was the goddamn graboids coming out of the ground. He has every means possible to blow the fuck out of them, and he's proud that he can do it. And he's a fantastic character.
Awesome.
And I mean, bringing Kevin Bacon back's awesome. But it's like I said on somebody else's page that announced it: no Bert, no dice. So,
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm hoping he comes back.
He can't be. He's not doing much else right now. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, unless there's a big Family Ties reunion that's going to be coming to Netflix, I don't know.
yes.
We'll see. So, all right, Wonder Woman has defeated the domestic box office record for the other 3 DCEU movies, and she only did it in a third of the time.
Cue the music.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, Wonder Woman's got its thing going. I mean, the thing with it is there's always a lot of people that are now asking, well, what's it going to do worldwide? We live in a world where there are certain cultures and certain societies of men that can't deal with a strong female character as the lead on the screen. I got a buddy of mine that's in the military. He's stationed in Bahrain right now. They won't show Wonder Woman in a general theater. He saw it, but he had to see it on a military base. Huh. You can't just go to a general theater and see it because,
Empowering women.
because of Muslims, But anyway, I mean, that's the thing with all that shit, So she's only in 40 markets opposed to the 63 markets that Batman versus Superman was in.
And she smoked him.
Right. Yeah, and she's third at a time. And I don't know, they're saying that if it's a slow burn kind of thing and it has legs, it could possibly beat the worldwide total of Batman versus Superman. They say it's going to depend on a lot of luck and situation, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, so after its incredible success, it was thought that Patty Jenkins would officially return to direct Wonder Woman sequel. They said she was officially in, but she backtracked the statement yesterday, saying she is still in negotiations. She said, I haven't signed a contract yet. I think they'll get the business done. They're probably finagling over money and bonus points,
Maybe they're trying to get her on to more films as well.
That could be. That's possible. Maybe she's trying to maybe get some producer credit or something like that. She can work on other shit. Dude,
and who knows with Zack Snyder, you don't know if he's stepping aside from good or if he's going to
He's never coming back.
No, I mean as far as no EP for nothing.
He's going to be an executive producer in
And that's what I
name
mean.
only. In name only.
All right.
It's the same thing. Look, John Peters was the guy who produced Batman 89. If you go and you watch interviews with this guy, he is a fucking nut job. But still to this day, since he has tie-in with Batman property, he still gets producer credit on anything new dealing with Batman.
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe she wants some EP on some other properties.
Well, yeah, that's what I just said, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, she's probably finagling for EP points. And look, I'm great with that. If she wants to have creative input into other shit, dude, I wish that they would sign her to do a Superman sequel. I'd be more happier with her doing that than doing a Wonder Woman sequel. But her baby, and I get it. All right, speaking of DC, director Matt Reeves has started development on Batman. He says Ben Affleck will return as the Caped Crusader, and we can expect a noir-style detective film in the spirit of Alfred Hitchcock.
Well, that director did War on the Planet of the Apes, which the early buzz is saying it's the best film of the summer. So I'm pretty excited.
I've been reading best film of the year. is the War of the Planet of the Apes sequel, which I can't wait to see. It comes out, I think, in 2 weeks.
That's crazy. So Spider-Man comes out next week.
Spider-Man comes out on
Spider-Man comes
Thursday.
out on Spider-Man comes out the 7th, but really the 6th.
Yeah.
War comes out the week after that, the 14th, but really the 13th.
Damn.
So
busy month.
Yeah, I'll probably do a Thursday night early screening of
Spider-Man.
No, of War.
Oh wow.
I'm more excited. I'm more excited about Planet of the Apes than any of this shit I've seen.
Are you really?
Oh,
Even
dude.
Spider-Man?
Fuck yes.
All right.
Dude,
Oh,
those first 2 movies were amazing. They were fucking awesome.
They were great.
Dude.
Yeah.
I think that's. I'm gonna hit both of those on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna check.
I'm done with the Thursday night crowd.
I don't know, man. Look, now if you can jump on it early enough, man, you go to Dolby Atmos, pick your seat, rock and roll, man. I mean,
I'm gonna save $10.
show up 5 minutes before it starts. I'm loving it, man. So, but anyway, I mean, look, you got War coming out. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, War and Last Jedi are the 2 things I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to most this year.
Fair enough.
All right, moving past the drama of the Han Solo movie, there's now a rumor that Jabba the Hutt is going to show up in the movie as kind of a main adversary, and that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, he couldn't not be in it. I mean, I suppose you could avoid the Hutts, but that's kind of the nucleus of the friction. And
I don't care.
All right. Early reviews for Spider-Man: Homecoming, which he doesn't care about this either, are
No, I'm gonna see this.
overwhelmingly positive. Several reviewers are saying that if John Hughes were still alive and took a crack at the genre, this would have been the movie he made. So,
I'm in.
So you're finally in.
I mean, I was in before. I just thought the trailers looked dumb.
All right. So it's also announced that Spider-Man 2 will be the first movie that leads the next phase of the MCU, and it picks up directly after the events of Avengers 4. So
brings me to my Inhumans.
Okay.
I think they got Spider-Man. I think Marvel has Spider-Man.
Oh, without question.
And the reason that we're not getting an Inhumans movie is because they got Spider-Man, and they're gonna because if you said this already that after the Avengers stuff, it's gonna be we're getting complete reboots. Correct? We're moving on with different
you mean after
characters.
Infinity Gauntlet?
Well, that is Avengers 4, isn't it?
Yeah, Avengers 4 is going to be the last movie that ends all the phases.
So if Spider-Man 2 is after that, my guess is they got Spider-Man and they're going to move on with a different story with some maybe possible different characters, and with Spider-Man now helming because now he's the face of the Marvel. Let's say Downey Jr.'s out. Well, what better way to carry on the franchise than Spider-Man?
I don't think Spider-Man is back at Marvel. I don't think that they have retrieved the rights to Spider-Man.
I think this is that.
I think what it is that Spider-Man is still going to be a Sony property that's going to be a collaborative effort between Marvel and Sony.
Well, and
that's what I think it's going to be.
And in so being, is going to be considered a Marvel release from a release scheduling standpoint, right? Like they're not going to put a Doctor Strange or a Black Panther within weeks of Spider-Man. They're going to spread it out.
I don't understand how the Inhumans play into this though. That's
because
if
the Inhumans were going to be a film in the 2019, the Inhuman movies coming out,
right?
They put it on the side and go, well, we don't want to have, just like John said, we don't want to have this movie come out in July because we want to have Spider-Man come out in July. Spider-Man, a property that we now control. We're going to put that, and that is now our priority. This Inhumans thing that nobody really cares about, let's give it back to TV.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't exactly know about all that stuff.
It's a plausible theory.
I'm
just saying we did this conversation 3 years ago.
It's definitely a plausible theory because if you remember, this is years ago, we were reporting in the news that there was going to be some kind of mystery film that was moved in, some third unannounced movie that was in 2017. Mm-hmm. Well, it turned out to be Spider-Man.
Right.
And I mean, I'll play along with the theory, but I will tell you this. To think that Sony is going to relinquish its rights to Spider-Man back to Marvel, that's not going to happen.
I think it'll be in name only. Just like Zack Snyder, Sony will get a check, but they'll have no control.
Sony, well, this is the deal, and it's come out. I mean, it's already been reported. Marvel didn't make a dime from Spider-Man.
Right.
They made the movie for Sony. They basically told Sony, look, this is what we want to do. We want to walk in, we'll make the movie. You can distribute it, you can make all the check on it. We want to make the movie just so we can have access to the character.
Yeah.
And that makes total sense.
Right. So Marvel makes money on Spider-Man when he's in Civil War and Avengers.
You. And he makes money on that. They make money when he's in the Avengers movie, and that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
So,
what is interesting, though, is if Spider-Man 2 happens after Avengers 4, we're still waiting on Avengers 3, correct?
Right, sure.
So I'm beginning to understand why they're saying, oh, Venom, why they're trying to, because they want another pop. But, because between Avengers 3 and 4, there's like
Sony
4 other movies. Yeah,
Sony wants.
they're looking to get a cash grab, and not have to wait for 6 more Marvel movies.
I don't know, man. It's a really interesting thing, And I mean, as far as like all the stuff with Fox, does it get down to a point to where they want to play ball also?
You said this before, Chris, that you think, and I'm sort of believing it more and more every day, that Sony will get bought out.
Oh, fucking A, they will.
So when Sony does get, and Sony Pictures, mind you, gets bought out, this doesn't matter anymore because.
What I'm curious is that if Sony does get bought, fuck Disney, remove them from the equation. Let's say Paramount Pictures walks in, okay, or Universal Pictures that is having overlooked tremendous success in the box office market.
Yeah.
I mean, they killed it last year. I mean, even Star Wars aside, Universal last year was the winner of box office gross because they had Jurassic World, they had Fast and Furious, they had Straight Outta Compton, which was a runaway hit. They had a bunch of movies. They had about, I would say, 3 movies that just outgrossed Star Wars. Plus, they had a bunch of other ones. So, let's say Universal walks in and they buy Sony.
They already have a relationship with Marvel, right? Hulk?
Wait, you just stay with me. Okay. So, Universal goes and buys Sony. Do the Transformers, do the Spider-Man rights transfer with the sale of Sony? Or do the Spider-Man rights revert back to Disney Studios?
Right. That's why I think Disney is going to go. I don't think Disney loses.
No.
If they want something, I like, and you're talking about Spider-Man. I don't know. Like
talking about,
and let's be clear about Sony. We're not talking about the Sony Corporation being sold. We're talking about Sony Entertainment being sold.
Right. I mean, just what's interesting is that Spider-Man is a ride featured in Universal Studios.
There's a whole Marvel
Florida.
World. Right. There's a whole Marvel World featured at Universal.
But it is old.
Over with.
It doesn't relate to any of the movies.
Based on the comics.
Correct.
Right.
It's all comic stuff.
Those rides are in their twilight right now.
Could be.
I mean, if Disney adds a Star Wars world, certainly they'd add a Marvel world.
Well, they have Guardians. I mean, they already have
the
Guardians ride. So.
No, John's talking about a theme park
that's
dedicated. Right. But Universal has it. Man, fuck it. Universal's got a full build out of the Avengers Mansion.
Wow.
In Universal.
Holy crap.
I think it's the one in California, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, because it's not in Florida.
Yeah, the one in California, I think, has it. And the one in Florida actually has DC there as well. They had it at one point when I went. I mean, they had the fucking replica of the Daily Planet from Superman.
Yeah. They have the whole comic.
Yeah.
But it's all comics.
Yeah, it's comic books. Yeah. It's not based on the movie properties. Correct. Which has become a thing onto its own. All right, it's been announced that Evan Peters will officially return to X-Men. X-Men Dark Phoenix. He's going to play Quicksilver as he did in the other 2 movies. I loved his cameo in Days of Future Past. It was fucking amazing. The one in Age of Apocalypse was fucking horrible, but that whole movie was horrible. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm glad he's coming back. I think that his version that he plays is actually better than the Marvel version.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, he was a red shirt in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and who knows? They'll probably do something stupid to try to bring him back. Speaking of X-Men, though it was thought that James McAvoy would reprise his role as Charles Xavier to be the mentor of the New Mutants, it's been reported that the team mentor will be a mutant named Dr. Cecilia Reyes. That was originally to be played by Rosario Dawson. She's officially left the movie and will be replaced by Queen of the South star Alice Braga. I'm surprised that they actually got Rosario Dawson, considering she's so ingrained in the Netflix thing.
Well, yeah. I was about to say that's
Alice
probably why she had to back out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They must have been like, okay, we'll make a nurse whatever series.
Yeah, I have no idea. I had no idea she was even cast in the fucking movie.
I didn't either, to be quite honest.
So, Warner Brothers has hired Family Guy producer Gary Janetti to develop a live-action, multi-camera angle sitcom based on the Jetsons.
They got a hard-on for sci-fi right now, those guys.
They got a hard-on for sci-fi, but man, God, I mean, the Jetsons?
Gary Janetti's funny, but I don't know if he can... I'll watch it if somebody tells me. But.
I mean, instead of looking at it as, something Hollywood's giving, imagine if it was a creative gauntlet thrown at you. Like, how would you make this edgy and contemporary? You've got, really where I feel like it lives or dies is the maid robot. You know what I mean? If you go like Battlestar Galactica AI and she's hot, that could get very confusing and potentially funny,
I mean, the only thing I give a shit about is that if their doorbell does the theme to the...
of course it will.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only thing I care about.
Cogswell Cogs.
Right.
And I don't know. I thought it was funny. I remember this episode of the Jetsons. I remember in particular. He's watching TV and he's watching what's called pay TV. And he's watching an episode of something or other and all that shit. And then what happens is a little distributor comes out of the wall that you have to throw coinage into to go back into the wall so you can pay for the television.
It would be kind of funny for them to make fun of the future Jetsons. Like, because the Jetsons, it's a future show.
Right.
But where we are now, like we are sort of in the future of...
Yeah, what the Jetsons was, and to be honest with you, I think that would
play on that.
I think that would be where the play comes from. Honestly, I think that would really be. But I mean, the question with it is that would newer audiences get that? Because I mean, there's a lot of kids probably don't even know who the fuck the Jetsons are.
Mine doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. So
it may just be some weird, quirky show.
But it also, if it's gonna go on Fox like the Family Guy and all that, it may not matter. Because those shows have an audience to their own. It may not. This may not be for kids, to be quite honest. This may be for us, or give or take 10, 15 years.
I think the way that they should do it is do something similar to what they do with these modern animation films. I think it should be a family sitcom, but the thing with it is there's some edgy jokes in there for adults. That's how I would do it. But hey, look, all I do is sell paint. I don't know shit about producing television shows. All right, so Top Gun 2 has an official release date of July 12th, 2019, and like an F-14 in a flat spin that kills fucking Goose. This is a horrible idea. Why are they doing this stupid shit?
I don't know.
I mean, dude, Top Gun, I don't even really think is a good movie. Oh. The original one. I think that Top Gun is a movie that it's a sign of the times movie. If I want to go and relive the 80s, Top Gun's definitely I would say probably like in the top 20 of 80s movies. But if you strip it down to what it is, it's really not a good movie. It's got some fucking great flight scenes. And for its time, it was very innovative.
It's a good 80s movie.
It's a good 80s movie. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't hold up today at all.
Great soundtrack.
And it's nostalgia, if anything. That's about it.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't really see what mileage you get out of Tom Cruise isn't a sex symbol anymore. He's a fucking nut job. And I mean
it's just the nom. It's the name Tom Cruise, and it's the name Tom Cruise, and it's the reboot theory that if we reboot a franchise or sequel a franchise that we're revisiting it, they'll make money, and we'll see. They'll make money, but And maybe
Who
I
knows?
know it's not.
Don't know, man.
The Mummy didn't make money.
I know
So-
it's not. I know this is not what they're gonna do, but it would be funny if they actually kind of did this like they did with 21 Jump Street and make it.
Tom isn't going to stand
I
for
understand
that shit.
that. I understand.
Tom's ego is going to be afterburning, pun intended.
Legacy.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so as of now, Catherine Langford, the lead of 13 Reasons Why on Netflix, is the frontrunner to play Barbara Gordon in Joss Whedon's Batgirl. I don't know.
Works.
It works, but I still don't buy this casting. There's been a lot of like big time reports in here that Warner Brothers wants to really try to use the opportunity to cast a Batgirl of a different race. They did it in the Lego Batman movie. Rosario actually played Batgirl. Me personally, I would pick the chick that played Sam Hamm's girlfriend in Baby Driver.
She was great.
She was great, and she's pretty easy on the eyes. But yeah, I would definitely I'd definitely cast her as Batgirl if they wanted to go with Latina or something of that nature. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how that pans out. There's always we read this shit all of the time. I mean, look what happened with the Cable casting. For a while there, we thought it was going to be Pierce Brosnan that was going to be the deadlock to play that character. Then after that, Russell Crowe was deadlocked to play the character, and then out of left field comes Josh Brolin, who ends up being a more perfect choice than any of the guys they mentioned.
True.
So there's no telling. I have no doubt that they're going to pick somebody that's up and coming. I don't think they're going to pick an established actress to play Batgirl.
Agreed.
If they did, I would cast Emma Stone. I think she'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah,
As
she'd be
Barbara Gordon.
fantastic, but she's never bad, so.
Yep. She was bad once. She was bad in Aloha. Yeah, she was pretty bad in that. But I don't blame that on her or Bradley Cooper. I blame that on Cameron Crowe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost it.
He did.
All right, well, we got a couple of more pieces of news here before we say goodbye.
Yep.
We talked about it last week. There was a big auction. 4 Star Wars items in particular, which I'm still pissed off. I can't get the price on what the other 2 items sold for. Those being the helmet and chest plate of Darth Vader, which was used in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. This would happen to be the same helmet that is wobbling in the air tunnel in the Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, wow.
So, even in 1983 or 1980 rather, we couldn't expect better in 1980. Because even the helmet was wobbling opposed to what it looked like in Rogue One.
At least they were real.
So
at least it was real.
What, it wasn't real in Rogue One?
Rogue One wasn't a real movie.
Okay. All right,
That's not real.
Okay, $1 billion. All right, anyway, so that piece, and also there was a small turret, like a model of one of the turrets that was built for the Death Star. It's a little bitty miniature. But, I mean, they had a hand-sized miniature of the Tana V4, which is the blockade runner that was attacked in the beginning of Episode 4. The big opening battle sequence, spaceship battle. That little thing sold for like $150,000.
How much did that turret sell for?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't find any info. But we do have info on the 2 items that we discussed in particular. John hit it to the number. $450,000 for Luke Skywalker's lightsaber that was used in New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. And it was bought by Ripley's Believe It or Not. That's who
Nice.
who bought the lightsaber. So
I didn't
you'll
realize they had that kind of cheddar laying around.
dude, I mean, in large cities, unlike this one, where you have large population, they're a big tourist trap. I mean, the Ripley's in San Antonio is fucking awesome. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. But there's no telling where that'll display, but they own it.
Sweet.
Also, the R2, which, man, I'm still confused about this. $2.6 million for R2-D2.
2.76.
2.76 for R2-D2. Now, this is the only experience that I have in any of this. There's a place in Birmingham, Alabama that sells M1 rifles that were used in World War II, which were later transferred to South Korea to fight in the Korean War. This is the M1 Garand rifle that's popularly seen in Saving Private Ryan and pretty much every World War II movie. After that war was fought, those rifles were returned to the United States, and brought to a house in Birmingham that actually sells these rifles. Now, if you have a rifle that is complete with matching serial numbers throughout the entire rifle, an intact rifle, those rifles go for about maybe between 17 and 20 grand.
Damn.
If you have an M1 Garand that's piece parted together from different rifles without matching serial numbers, but it is a functioning rifle, you can get that rifle for a low affordable price of $600. Now, this R2 thing has been a kind of a conflicting kind of fucking deal. At first we hear that it's just like kind of like a stunt piece that's used, down to the one that's the actual one that Kenny Baker rode on. But now they're saying that this thing is just piece parts from different versions of the robot that's put together to make an intact robot. I don't understand $2.76 million for something piece part. If it was the actual, but I don't know. I mean, if somebody,
they're the piece parts that appeared in all 3 of the movies.
Yeah, but I mean, but the thing with it is so in other words, the one that if somebody rolls up and says, here's the one that Kenny Baker actually rode in and was appeared in the first movie, the one they left him behind in when the crew went to lunch. I mean, is that worth $5 or $7 million?
$2.76 billion.
I don't understand it.
I understand it, and we talked about this before. I understand it because it's a character. Like when you look at that, that's R2D2. We're of the age where we can understand it's a prop and but when we were kids, that was R2D2.
Yeah.
It's R2D, and some people don't let that go. It's R2D2.
Yeah.
Yes, it's put together by piece by piece by piece, but that is like bringing in Han Solo.
I think that's the
home.
part that confuses me. The part that confuses me is that it's a bunch of mod pieces, that are things that appeared in the movie. I mean, if it was an intact thing and basically saying that the actor wrote in this fucking thing, 2.7, I'd understand. I don't get it. I mean, I'm not arguing it. I just don't understand.
Maybe there isn't. Maybe that's the thing, though. Like you said, this gun all pieced together because it was used, but maybe the R2D2 was never. Maybe there never was a full R2D2. Maybe it was always pieces.
I don't
the
know.
whole franchise.
Yeah, well,
I'm actually surprised. I thought the lightsaber would go way more than for the robot. See?
No, you're right.
That's it. Just got force choked.
Yeah, I'm with Chris.
I'm gonna stand on that one.
Yeah, it's a character, not just merely a prop.
That's right.
So,
all right, and then our last piece of news. Craziness, man. The savior of the Transformers franchise, the market of China, from the time that Transformers was released, which was last Friday, or 2 Fridays ago, to this past Friday, in 1 week, box office sales have dropped 82%.
Trans failures.
It was
so long, goodbye.
I thought Transformers came out last weekend.
Transformers came out on what's today? Today is the 1st.
Second.
It came out the third
Second.
week. It came out the 23rd.
All right.
Is when Transformers came out in China.
Okay. All right.
So from Friday, from Friday debut to Friday, this past Friday, 82% drop. That's fucking crazy because they rely on that market to drive this franchise now. So I think Transformers might be on the swan song here, which is fine. They could have gone to the swan song after the second movie, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, it's long overdue.
I saw Despicable Me 3.
Oh really? How was it?
Not as good as the second or the first.
I don't think the second one was good as the first one. So
first one still reigns, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh no, I agree.
I will say this about that movie, and then I'll quit it. It looked good. Like they really have gotten the CGI animation down. Like when you see outside scenes, it looks like outside. It almost looks like you're watching actual toys. That's how good
they
it
got
looks.
big budget now because originally it was a very small budget movie, and the Minions are born out of the fact that they didn't have much of a budget. The Minions were originally a lot more complex looking, but when they made them look like little yellow Tic Tacs, I think it actually was better for them doing that.
Sell a lot more toys.
So yeah, and I mean, you don't love the Minions, they're like little.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like fucking 9-year-old kids, that can't speak English, and they like fart jokes and mooning people. I mean, I'm 43 and still think that's fantastic.
Trey Parker is in this film, so you get a South Park.
I heard he steals the movie.
He doesn't steal the movie.
Oh, really? He doesn't?
It's not that good.
Really?
No.
So that's another franchise that now that we have 3 of them, we can put it out to pasture.
Yeah, they
now.
should just go milk the Minions for all they're worth.
I thought that the first Minion movie, the little spin-off movie, wasn't that bad.
No,
It was
wasn't.
okay.
It wasn't bad. I'm
Was
just
it
saying
as
it's-
good as? Was it
I
better
think it was
than
better
3?
than this. I think it was
Okay.
better than this. Yeah.
I buy that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I promise you I will be seeing it.
You will.
So, yeah.
Diminishing returns.
That's it. All right, we got anything to add, guys?
No.
Nope.
All right, well, look, we appreciate y'all listening. 5-Star General says 5 stars for PPV, 5 stars for Scary Thoughts, and 5 stars for Not Real Radio. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at PPVGuys. Do the same over at PPVGuys.com. You can check out our previous episodes. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes. And please, if you're a true fan of this show, leave a rating. End scene. You are listening to Popcorn, Piss, and Vinegar.
Television.
Movies.
Pop culture.
Keep up with the latest news from Luke Skywalker all the way to Batman.
From Netflix to the CW.
And all the news in between.
Please subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
Or stream our episodes from ppvguys.com.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at PPV Guys.
Check out our friends Not Real Radio at notrealradio.com for our segment Not Real Movie News.
Should you listen to more? Yes. Will you agree? Maybe.
Jury's out.
Indeed.
Thank you for listening.
And action.